My name is Arthur Govin. I am the partnership coordinator at the Next Street Driving School. Today is our webinar about insuring a new driver. So I'm actually really excited to learn a lot today. I know a lot about the driver's ed process, but after the driver's ed process, I don't have as much knowledge as I'd like. So I'm happy here today. We're going to be joined by Taunya Bird, who works for Smith Brothers. She's been in the business for 20 years of insuring people, and she's going to be here to answer some questions. I'm going to ask her, do a little interview, kind of questions like that, and then we're going to take questions from all of you. So let's get started. So first thing, I'm going to take you through just a quick little thing from our end. So if you want to learn how more about driver's ed insurance or insuring your student after driver's ed, you would just go to thenextstreet.com/insurance, and it's going to take you to a page with all the information post driver's ed. So we have a free parent guide ebook that gives you all the stuff you need to know, how to kind of deal with your kids after they get their license, because it can be a big thing, and kind of giving them that freedom and letting go it's a big moment. So we want to make sure that we give you all the resources we can to make it a smooth and easy transition. So if you go to this page, it kind of breaks down everything, the whole step by step for parents during the driver's ed process, including after. And then all the way at the bottom here, insuring your new teen driver. We have some information here. The Next Street, we are partnered with Smith Brothers again. So if you don't have an insurer and you want to put them on a new insurance, we offer a 10% discount. Or Smith Brothers offers a 10% discount by going through the Next Street. So what you would do is you'd go here, click on insurance discount page. It's going to bring you here, and then you'd sign up and submit, and then a Smith Brothers person would reach out to you. So that is basically all I have to show you when it comes to our website, when it comes to insurance. But we will now begin our interview, and I'll go through if you're wondering about any new driver's ed process or the driver's ed process, license testing process through the Next Street, check out our other webinars on our Facebook page. This one, again, is all about insuring a new driver. So we're going to get started. So I'm going to introduce our guest, Taunya Bird. She is the producing account executive at Smith Brothers. She's, again, been doing this for 20 years or over 20 years. So she has all the experience, all the knowledge. And you can see she's laughing, but she really does. So, introduce yourself, Taunya.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here today. And Arthur, thank you so much for having me. So as Arthur said, I am one of the producing account executives at Smith Brothers Insurance Agency, an agency that has a very proud relationship with the Next Street Driving School. We love that partnership. Smith Brothers has been around since the early 70s. And we have our Be Sure standards, which means we truly want to help others. I have been doing this for about 23 years, so it is something that I do enjoy. I work on the personal line side, so I specialize in the auto insurance, the home insurance, additional liability, stuff like that. And one of my favorite things about my job is that I get to work with really cool people like the Next Street, and that we get to help people learn more about insurance policies and about the different coverages. So I hope that's what we do here tonight. And I hope that y'all can learn something new.
All right. That is a great introduction. So we're going to get started now. So I have a few questions for you. And then after that, we're going to open up the floor for questions, or I should say the chat for questions, and kind of go from there. So, so a couple of things. One thing, how much coverage should a person have in general? Because I know that that's something that I've always kind of wondered. I don't know how much coverage I should have, and especially when I was just getting started, how much coverage. So
Sure. Thank you. So first, so the main thing you have to have liability. And then depending on the car that you have, if it's a really old car, maybe not worth fixing if something happens to it, you can just stick with liability.
That's me. Yeah, no, I've had my old car my whole time, so yeah.
So that's awesome. But if you have a car where you feel like, oh, I'm going to need to fix this if something happens to it, then of course we want to talk about some extra coverages like collision and all that good stuff. As far as liability is concerned, I'll start with the state minimum, but it's too low. The state minimum is $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident, and $25,000 for property damage. So what that means is if you have an accident and you're at fault and you cause damage or injuries, you have $50,000 to take care of all the injuries in the other vehicle. That's not much. And not one person can eat up more than $25,000. And then of course, the last 25 I mentioned for property damage, that's to fix whatever it is you've crashed into. So if you crash into like a newer car, something like that, it's going to be higher than that. And I'll tell on myself, I had an accident on Sunday. I hit a light pole.
Oh my gosh.
I did. It fell over, which I can't even talk about it. I'm so embarrassed. And my manager told me, because she works with claims a lot, she's like, oh, those are normally about $30,000. So 25,000 is not enough. So luckily I don't have state minimum.
Yeah.
So
luckily you're insured. I would hope so.
Right. So I would suggest, and our agency would suggest, that you have at least $250,000 per person, $500,000 for all the injuries in the accident, and then $100,000 to take care of any property damage that you cause. And then on top of that, we'll talk about extra liability and umbrellas. But I would say a base is definitely $250,000 per person, $500,000 per accident.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, just breaking it down. Hitting the pole, sorry to bring it up again, but, it's, that's $30,000 right there. So you wouldn't have been, covered. You would have had to been paying out of pocket. So, all right. So, you mentioned, it, depending on your car, how much you want to insure, but what are some of the determinants for pricing of car insurance?
Sure. So some of the things that would determine the price of car insurance is the drivers in the household, how many of them there are, and then what are their driving records? Are there any accidents or violations? For our young drivers, of course, grades come into it. Location is also a pricing factor. We do rate.
Just to interrupt you really quick, grades. Okay, grades. Listen to that one. All right, that's the. You can get lower insurance if you have good grades. So just
absolutely.
That's for parents and students right there. So
so also the location, we rate according to zip code, most companies do, and then the type of car that you have, how it's being used, do you drive it every day? Is it, just pleasure use, stuff like that. And then of course all the discounts, which grades are definitely a huge one.
And if you go through the next street.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Right, yeah.
One of the best discounts is this one right here. This is definitely one of our preferred relationships. We know that you're working with awesome instructors that are going to do everything possible to set you up for success. So awesome discount right there. And as I, brushed over your grades, we do even B's. Every A, every B counts. So get studying, y'all.
Yeah, that's it.
Some companies will start at a B. Some give additional discounts for top 10% of your class, give additional discounts for high honor roll. So it's not just good student. You could even get better than good students.
Yeah,
So,
trust me. I wish if I got better grades when I was in high school, I would have had
yeah,
a few
I
less
was
headaches on my.
I was not in the top 10.
Yeah, but like you said, you don't have to be in the top 10, but you just have
You
to,
don't.
make
You
sure that
don't.
you're, keeping up and doing everything you have to, and that can be a really big help. Um,
Absolutely.
so okay, so we got through that. Does a young driver need it to be added if they're just have a permit?
Sure. So that's just something you want to check in with your agent. Normally, insurance companies will wait until the young driver has their license to add them. But sometimes they do at least want to know that they're in the household and starting out, even though they're not rating on them right away. But it's definitely, you want to call your agent, but it's a very good chance your agent's going to say, just be careful and call back when they get their license.
Yeah,
License.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're okay, so and this has unfortunately happened to me.
Oh, Arthur, what happened?
If your friend gets into an accident in your car, does your insurance pay for it?
It
And I know
does.
the answer for that, to that, unfortunately.
Yes, insurance follows the car, not the driver. So if you let your friends drive your car, you
Don't
are
let your friends drive
responsible.
your car.
Don't. You and your parents are responsible for it.
Right. Yeah. Even if they're your girlfriend or boyfriend, just yeah, just drive it. If it's your car, drive your own car. Um. Okay. So what? What? Let's see. What other questions? I had a couple other questions. All right. So obviously, again, what do I do if I get into an accident in general?
Yeah. So,
Is that I
and
again? That is something that I didn't. It's like you don't really. You always panic, obviously, and you get scared and upset. But I really think that it's it's just a scary situation, and if you know exactly what to do, it can make it a lot better. So
absolutely. And yes, it is easier said than done because staying calm is the number one thing. And having my first at fault accident in 45 years. Well,
yeah,
I haven't been driving for 45 years, but anyway.
right.
But but yeah, it's not as easy to stay calm. But for sure, try to just take a deep breath. Try to stay calm. You want to call the police. You want to make sure it's on record what happened. Unfortunately, if other parties are involved, once you leave the scene, sometimes stories can change a little bit. So it's always best to call the police, have them there, and have them write up a report. And I wouldn't give a statement to the other party, only the police, only, the police and your insurance company. Other than that, you don't have to give a statement to the other people that are there. And if you think of it and you've got your smartphone, you should definitely take pictures. It's a great idea. Take pictures of your car, take pictures of the other car, take pictures of the light pole that went down, take pictures of anything that's going to help out. And then, of course, call your agent.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that's not exactly how it went. I've never been behind the wheel when I've been in an accident, luckily. But
Oh, good,
you
good.
know, it's uh, it's always just a scary situation. So just knowing kind of the steps is really important.
Mhm.
So in that same realm, if I do get into an accident or get a ticket, how long will that stay on my record?
Sure. Insurance companies will normally count an accident or a violation for up to 5 years. So even though your motor vehicle report, it may fall off of that in 3 years. If your insurance company pays for a claim, it's normally going to stay on there for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we'll follow you to other companies because insurance companies run something called a clue report. And that's a way of seeing any accidents that you've had, any claims that have been paid out. And so those will follow you for 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. That's not too bad. I know it seems like a long time, but you know,
Too bad.
it flies by. But don't get a ticket.
Oh,
Um, Okay, so any other additional tips before we get to answering some questions from people?
Absolutely. One other thing I missed when I was talking about discounts. I meant to bring up that a lot of companies also have discounts for their own little driving classes. You know, one is called Teen Smart, and it's another 6 hours in
Yep.
front of a screen taking a class, but it's a pretty significant discount. And then also there's discounts where you can put an app on your phone that communicates with your parents. So then that way we know that the parents are kind of coaching how the driving is going. The insurance company isn't necessarily privy to that information, but the parents do. And so there's a discount based on that.
And trust me,
And
once the parents know, it doesn't, that's all you need to make sure you're driving well.
right,
Yeah.
right. They know where you went and how fast you got there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's others. Most companies have telematics devices, and those give pretty significant discounts. And those work two different ways. One is either you plug it into your car. Underneath your steering wheel, there's a place where like the body shop can plug in to do a diagnostic. Same thing. There's a little device you can plug in, or you can even download it on your phone. And usually you get a discount just for joining that program. And then after, 90-ish days, when the company can see your driving habits, you can get some better discounts. And like some of the things they look at is how far do you drive? Do you drive in the middle of the night much? Hard braking, rapid acceleration. That's one I failed. Mine, I did the kind where you plug in and it would beep at you.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah, no, I drive like a grandmother, so I have never had any issues with that. So,
I
but
don't. I should start.
yeah, no, but it's especially when you're a new driver, you just everything's better safe than sorry. That's always what I tell
100%.
everyone. It's
Yeah.
just there's no. I promise you, going faster, it doesn't get you there any faster, because
No.
you're gonna hit the red light or you're gonna get into an accident, even worse. So
Or if the police officer knows you're
right,
speeding, they're going to make you stay there longer while they lecture you. So you're
exactly.
going to be late anyway.
And then you're gonna have a lecture when you get home, and it's just it never
It's just not
stops.
worth it. Not worth it. So yeah. So then just some last quick tips, don't let any others, influence your driving, like tailgating or being waved on, or
Yeah.
if someone else is showing some road rage, don't you just be you, be calm. Don't let those affect you, and trust your eyes. If someone waves you and you don't trust it, just don't go. It's always best to just wait and plan ahead. Make sure you know when you're going, where you're going, the route, and how long it's going to take you to get there, so you can plan ahead.
Well, that's actually, it's funny you bring that up, because that is actually kind of what happened, where I was in the passenger seat and my girlfriend was driving, and we were at an intersection where we were kind of going around someone who was turning left. And, then there was another person on the other side of the intersection that was kind of waving us on. But there was another, like someone came out of a parking lot and kind of flew out of the parking lot because they had the right of way. And then that's kind of how the accident happened. So it was kind of just kind of blindly trusting the people who are waving you on, because you don't really know. But that's why you just have to be extra cautious and
Right.
just just pay attention, look everywhere, don't make a decision too fast.
Right.
And okay, so that's great. I'm gonna take some questions. We have a few comments already.
Oh,
So let's see. I'm gonna start with. So, does gender make a difference on cost of insurance? That was the first question.
fair question. I do believe, from what I've seen, that young males normally are still just a little bit more, but it's not quite as much as it used to be.
Yeah,
They used to have
there
really
was
bad.
there was a whole thing where it was like, oh, it was way
Yeah,
way different. But
it's
yeah,
it's it's not way different. Mostly, girls not so good with the phones. I think now they're better with turning their phones off and stuff, and having the
right.
phone just automatically shut off. But girls were starting to cause quite a few accidents once cell phones became a thing. So that's not I think males are still a little more, but it's not quite the difference that we used to see.
Yeah. Um, well, that's, you know, good, but also not great that that's the reasoning, maybe. But, you know, hopefully just don't use your phone. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. If you own two cars but have three drivers, is it cheaper to insure the third driver? And what's the difference in outlay between having three cars, three drivers, and three cars, two drivers on average? Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and
Yeah.
it's a big difference. So if you have a young driver, so if you are either, so say you're married, so two people, two adults have two cars.
Okay.
When you add your young driver, then they are only an occasional operator. That's all they have to be listed as, because there's more drivers than there are cars. And they would still get all of the discounts that go with being a driver, but they would only be rated as an occasional operator. But if you have three cars and then you bring in that young driver, even if you personally don't give them permission to drive all of the time, the companies will still rate them as a primary vehicle, as a primary driver, because there are the same amount of drivers as there are vehicles. So the
Okay.
least expensive way, if you're insuring a new driver, is to not get them a car right away and to just have them as a driver on your policy for a while, if that's possible. I know it's not for everybody.
Yeah. That makes sense. Is it cheaper to insure an 18-year-old driver versus a 16-year-old driver who both completed driver's ed?
So if they both,
So they both have completed.
so yeah,
I'm just gonna say. I'm assuming they mean the full course.
yeah,
Um, but one's
it,
18, one's 16. I don't know if there's a difference
yeah.
between those two years.
There would be. It's not a huge difference. I actually
Yeah.
was just quoting a young lady for Next Street.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and she's 17 now, going to get her license soon, but may not really, or may not get her license until she's 18. So I actually was able to try it both ways. And it is a bit of a savings, because she's a tiny bit older, a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more responsible.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure.
I don't, a new driver, unfortunately, does cost a little bit. So you're going to see, that increase either way,
For
but
sure.
there may not be quite as much for the 18-year-old.
Okay. Um, I have a few people who liked this comment, so I'll say this one. What is the name of the app for parents to see a child's driving habits? Do you happen to know what app is good for that?
Yeah, so the one that one of our companies is Hanover, and they have an awesome one, and it's actually called Smart Path.
Okay.
Um, so that's
Smart
that one.
Path. Okay.
Mhm. There's also it is Right Track. Right Track is one that goes through like Safeco, Liberty Mutual, and they also have a feature where the parents can check in as well.
Okay. Um, let's go back to the comments. Okay. Let's see. Can we wait to add our teen driver until our policy is up for renewal, or is there a certain time frame from when he gets his license?
So insurance companies want to know the drivers in the household immediately.
Okay.
And most insurance companies are connected. Well, all insurance companies can run MVRs and are connected with the state. So there's a lot of times that insurance companies know almost right away that someone in that household got their license. And so what they do is they send us an email. Did someone get their license over here? Do we need to rate on someone? So it's definitely best to let your insurance company know right away, because they do want to rate all drivers in the household right away.
Okay. Um, okay, I have two questions here. One asks, do you recommend an umbrella policy? And then the next one says, can you talk about the necessity of an umbrella policy?
Absolutely. Yes, I recommend an umbrella policy of at least $1 million. The reason that I feel that they're necessary is an umbrella policy is additional liability above and beyond your auto and your home insurance policies. So if you are sued for something, whether it's car accident related or something home related, someone's hurt on or around your property, and that lawsuit costs more than the liability limits on your policies, then a judgment could be put against you. So that's where that extra at least $1 million of liability comes in as that protection. If you are sued above what your liability is, they could go after your wages could be garnished if there's a judgment against you. If you have a home, there could be a lien put against it, so you can't sell it. So we want to make sure with an umbrella that we're protecting what you currently own. We want to protect all of your assets. And even for our young people, we want to protect what you want to own in the future. Because as I said, your future wages, your retirement, and your home could all be up for grabs.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, it's so I think that recommendation is more of a advising, definitely good advice. Do it because it's going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Okay. This person says, what is the approximate cost of a $1 million umbrella? I know that's maybe hard to say, but.
Yeah, it is, and with a young driver, it's probably, it depends on how many cars, if you own other properties, but say you've got, one house, 2 cars, 3 drivers, one being young, you're probably looking, at $500-600. So, $50 a month. It may seem like a bunch, but it's definitely a saving.
Yeah.
Definitely a lifesaver. Now, again, with all the multi-policy discounts, it could be less.
Again, if you want to get a quote, you can either go straight to the Smith Brothers page or go through our website, thenextstreet.com/insurance, and then at the bottom it'll link you to this page or to a free VIP insurance consultation where you sign up your email, and then an agent from Smith Brothers will come back to you and kind of give you everything you need to know and give you a quote. So
those normally come right to my email. So I'll be the
great.
one.
So Tanya will be the one quoting you. So because again, it is different for everyone. So it's good to get an actual quote for yourself. Here's a good one. I have a friend that said they put their teen driver on a policy of their own rather than being added to the parents' insurance policy. Do you recommend that?
It's hard because it's really expensive because there's a few things that come into play there. One, of course, they're a brand new driver. So it's going to cost more to insure them. Also,
by themselves, right? I'm
right.
sure that, yeah.
And then if they're on their own, they probably don't have multi-car discounts, multi-policy discounts. And then even for like a 30-year-old, so say someone lived in New York City and they're coming here and they need a car, they haven't needed to drive. That's not really their fault. But if it's their first time ever getting insurance in their name or being listed anywhere, it's also more expensive. So it's definitely best if you can have them as a driver on your own policy for a little while. So then that way, when they do get their own policy, they've at least had a little bit of, the insurance company already knows a little bit of how they drive, how they're doing. So they're rated better than, unfortunately, if a young driver is getting their own car and their own insurance, it's, there are a lot of people that can afford it, but it can be quite costly.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Any other questions from anyone? I see a couple. One says, is there a discount for being an Eagle Scout?
Oh, I wish there was. I don't have one. I wish there was, though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is...
They would stay calm in an accident.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they would know what to do if there was any issues. Okay, so this one's kind of a two-parter. So it says, if our son is in an accident and he is on our insurance policy, can we lose our house if we are sued? And then is it more money to have our 16-year-old? Oh, okay, that we already answered that. So you did say that they can. One, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I hope we don't end on this note because
No, I know.
because it is scary. But unfortunately, yes, we're responsible for our young people,
Yeah.
and if they're on our insurance, or even if they live in your household and they have their own policy, they're still our responsibility, and you could be sued for an accident that they have. As far as losing your home, it would be more of a lien being put against it.
Yeah.
Normally. So
But
you
that's
would
why,
just
again, that's why it's
wouldn't
just
lose it,
so
but you'd be in it
important.
forever.
It's so important to take all those precautions, and it might seem annoying to put an app on a phone or anything like that, but those things can save you from a lot of financial problems at the end of the day, and being really strict about driving, especially for a new driver, is just really, really important. And it's not something that they should feel like can be taken lightly. It should be a very serious thing for them.
Right.
Is it okay? This person says, and I think I know the answer. Is it more expensive to insure a sports car for a teenage boy age 18? I'm guessing yes.
Well, it is more expensive to insure the sports car for any age.
Right,
actually.
exactly. Right.
So it's the car. So a sports car is always going to cost a little bit more than, our four-door sedans.
Right.
But that's really for anyone,
Yeah. And, and the only reason why it would be more expensive is because of the age. But, the sports cars is just, that's why, again, I'm grateful I paid for my own car when I was 16, and I'm now 25, and I've been driving the same car the whole time, and
I love it.
It's taken a beating, but I'm fine with it. Like yesterday, I was parking in the parking lot at my apartment, and I backed in. I would say decently hard into a snowbank, and I was like, well, whatever, it didn't. I didn't get too stressed out. So that is one nice thing about not having a super nice car.
There's some freedom there.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. This one said, sorry, coming in late. If this was already covered, my kid will be driving my mom's car. Do I cover her on my mom? So I think I know the answer to that, but you can go ahead.
So if your mom's car is at your mom's house and you would need to check with your agent. And with us, we would check with our companies individually that we quoted you with, because of course your mom's your mom's insurance company is going to want to know that there's a young driver driving their car. However, your insurance company is still going to want to be aware of the fact that there is a driver in your household.
Right. Even if they're not driving a car in that household. Yeah.
Right. So definitely want to check with the agent on that one. And like I said, if it were us, I would check with both companies just to make sure that they're working together. Sometimes, like I have someone who, parents who split up. And so, son lives with mom, primarily spends a lot of time at dad's, but drives dad's car, and dad has the insurance on him. So mom's policy lists him, but as not a rated, not as a primarily rated driver. So there's a little bit on there, but it doesn't cost too much. So your insurance company does want to know, but definitely, your mom's policy would want to know.
Yeah. And she just actually said same household, just a different insurance company. So what would be your advice on that, where it's
so I think he'd be, or I don't know, I think the child would be rated primarily on the mom's policy, but I think that your policy would still list them as a driver that's just not normally rated, a
Okay.
non-rated driver, maybe something like that.
Okay. Um, all right. So, any other questions from anyone before we wrap up? I think that this was really informative, and I hope people got value out of this. If you want, you could, if you wouldn't mind just giving like a kind of little wrap up of some advice for kids out there, then I think that that could be really helpful for some people. Um,
Yeah.
oh, wait, we have one more question. Sorry.
Oh,
Does re-
sure, sure.
does registering the kid's car and parents' name save money on insurance? Oh, wait, I think we pretty much answered that question.
Yeah, because then it's going to be a part of the parents' policies,
Exactly.
and
Yep.
they would have access to the multi-car discounts, multi-policy discounts. And then once the young driver has a little bit of experience, go ahead at that point, try to register it in their name. But in the beginning, it's definitely more cost effective to insure it in the parents' names, register and insure it in the parents' names.
All right, yeah. So if you wouldn't mind just giving a little brief wrap up and some advice for everyone, and I think we'll end it there.
Absolutely. So I think, my advice is kind of what I had said before about truly just be you, pay very close attention. Listen to your next street, or if you're listening and you didn't go through next street, but listen to any advisor, instructors that you have. Definitely they're setting you up for success. Study, your grades do count. And then when you're out on the road, just take your time and, pay close attention. Don't let your friends distract you with the radio and all that stuff. Just, kind of do you and, be responsible. And call us. We're happy, as part of our relationship with Next Street. We understand. I think we're a phenomenal insurance agency, but we might not be for everyone, but we can still be a trusted advisor. So, even if I can't write your insurance, I'm still happy to talk to you about it and happy to answer any questions that you may have. And that's for young people and parents. Anyone can call me.
All right. Thank you so much, Taunya. I'm Arthur Govin. That's Taunya Bird. And I hope everyone got some value out of this. I will be back next week